Hey GCN family, happy Friday to you. Here's just a quick question that was on my mind today is this. I'll ask it in a way that you can all answer. Have you trusted Jesus today? Sometimes I have to remind myself to ask myself that question, especially in times if I'm feeling anxious or if there's a lot of unknown or overwhelming stuff. What tends to both calm me down and call me to action is that question right there. Have you trusted Jesus today? Okay, that's the question. Now, in John chapter 6, there's this place where Jesus' disciples come and ask him. They say this, it's in verse 30. They say, "So Jesus, what miraculous sign then will you give that we may see it and believe you? What will you do, Jesus? Our forefathers ate the manna in the desert. As it is written, he gave them bread from heaven to eat." So that's the question that they asked him. John chapter 6. But here's why that's kind of a funny question, is because they had already seen, like in the Gospel of John up until this point, they had seen Jesus turn water to wine at the wedding at Cana. Jesus, a couple of chapters later, had met with the Samaritan woman, which in itself was a scandal, but the real scandal actually is that Jesus told her, hey, you're trying to pull up water from the well, but he says to them, I am the water that will make you never thirst again. So they hear him say that. And then just before they asked this question, this is interesting, just before they asked this, Jesus had been with 5,000. It's one of those stories that's in the Gospels where they run out of food and then Jesus takes a boy's lunch and turns it into food for 5,000 people, plus women and children. And so that was a major miracle that had happened just like a few verses before they asked this question. And so that's why it's kind of funny that here they find themselves saying, Jesus, what miracles will you perform so that we might believe in you finally, so we can trust you? How do we know that we can trust you, Jesus? And then he answers them, he says, I tell you the truth, it's not Moses who has given you the bread from heaven, but it is my Father who has given you the true bread from heaven. For the bread of God is he who comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. And then he says this, he says, I am the bread of life. So, friends, that's the Friday encouragement. May we be people who trust Jesus today. And that's two-part, trusting Jesus. It's something that we receive, like it's the act of resting in Jesus when there is anxiety or fear or uneasiness about the tensions in the world or the unfairness or injustice of the world. It's something that we receive when we trust him, but it is also simultaneously an action. Like trusting Jesus is the act of going out into our world and responding to the world, to our neighbors, to everyone as people who rest in him, who trust him, who live differently because we have received the bread of life. Jesus also says here, he's like, you can eat bread that will spoil today, like manna just spoiled. God gave it to them, but it spoiled by that next morning. But I'm the bread that will give you life that will last forever. And I believe that what he's saying there is when we trust him, like we got peace that is eternal. We got peace in our lives that's so deep that it's bound to change every interaction we have. It's bound to change the way in which we face injustice and unfairness and really hard things in the world. Like it just changes everything. So that's it. That's the question. Have you trusted Jesus today? That's not just a question for you. It's a question I ask myself. I think the basis of the New Testament, one of the central things it's trying to teach us is the whole point is to trust Jesus. Looking forward to seeing you on Sunday, a few of you in the sanctuary as we meet together, many, many more of you online as we worship together. We've got a special guest preacher, Reverend Eric King will be with us. He's the pastor at Goshen United Methodist Church just down the street here. But until then, have a good Friday, be blessed, love you, bye.